Hello, welcome to the Man Overboard podcast. Today we're going to rank every BLINK-182 album.
I think we might have similar picks here, but it's going to be interesting to see where we put different ones.
I'm really excited for the top three because it's both of ours probably in our top three artists as a whole.
Yeah.
I want to know what you have in there. I'm actually excited. Should we kick it off with number 9?
Let's go for it.
Very apt because it is 9.
My number 9 is also 9.
Yes.
So let's go in on that one. Let's fucking get through it.
Easy work. 9 for me, the second album with Skiba. Mm-hmm. I think it just doesn't really feel like a Blink project as much as the others do.
No. I think the problem with it not having, I wouldn't say the original 3, but the 3 that everybody knows and loves, Travis, Mark, and Tom, means that it's probably... it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't have the same kind of vibe. Don't get me wrong. As an album, I think every album on this list is a decent album somewhat. But I think of the Skiba projects being 2, this is definitely the weaker. And overall, of every project that Blink-182 have, this is the weakest for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I don't dislike it, as you say. I think, for example, there's some good songs that I actually quite like. Black Rain is a bit heavier than the rest of the album.
See, Black Rain was something that I had down as one that I'm like, what the fuck did they do with that?
Oh, you see, I quite like that because it felt different. And then I think No Heart to Speak Of, I quite liked because it kind of has... an emotional vibe that I think most people can get down with. Most people have felt something like that. But apart from that, I don't know. It just didn't fill me with any kind of joy.
For me, Happy Days and I Really Wish I Hated You are 2 songs that I could see being on a different Blink album. Those are I think for me, those felt like the most Blink-y songs out of all of them. But there's ones like Black Rain and songs like that. On Some Emo Shit was...
Oh, yeah, I didn't.
And I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what path they'd gone down. I don't know if Skiba had more of an influence. I don't know if maybe Travis had some kind of influence on it with him doing his whole... Because that was around the time he started to work with other pop punk artists like Black Bear and those kind of people. So I don't know if he influenced some of the tracks on that album and made them as weird as they are. But yeah, most of the tracks on the album don't feel like Blink at all. There's Hung Over You, though. It has a great chorus, but it's such a weird track. I really like the chorus and how it goes, but the rest of it just feels so lackluster.
I feel like on this album, they were trying to force being Blink. They weren't naturally creating the music.
Yeah.
It felt like there was a couple little skits in there and stuff, and it just felt, I don't know.
It felt dialed in, is what I would use to describe it, but yeah.
Number 8, which thankfully they don't have an album called 8. What's yours, Tim? You go first.
Me go first. Mine is Cheshire Cat.
Oh.
Yeah, so the reason I put Cheshire Cat here is because, again, it's an album that only has 2 of the 3 artists that we've known to love as Blink-182, which isn't a massive detriment to it because, like I say, every album on this list is decent. But the only reason it's higher than 9 is because of the first 2 opening tracks, which I think are great opening tracks for any album anywhere, which is Carousel and M&M's. And those 2 are really, really big tracks. But then the rest of the album...
Do you know what?
Go on,
number 8, I've got Cheshire Cat.
No way.
And I've literally got on my notes, first 2 tracks are amazing in Carousel and M&M's.
Yeah.
But then I think from that point, the rest of the album just feels like the same song.
It's the same. Yeah. The tempos are very similar. The bass tracks are very similar. The drums not really doing too much there, but that's when they had Scott on the drums. So he perhaps didn't have the kind of skill and range that Travis Barker does. And yeah, it's just very samey. The lyrics are very dated now. There's jokes on there that don't hit anymore, and it doesn't feel right. I'm just not a huge fan of it.
The first proper album, though, Blink were trying to find the sound. I know there was Buddha before it.
Buddha was kind of like demos, and half the tracks on Buddha ended up getting onto Cheshire Cat anyway, so it wasn't like... like Buddha could really stand alone. It's one of the reasons why we haven't included it.
By the way, I was going to say we've left out Buddha, we've left out Dogs Eating Dogs, Dogs Eat Dogs.
Yeah.
Because they're just not proper.
And then we've also left
albums.
out like Mark, Tom and Travis show.
Yeah.
And then the deluxe editions and shit like that.
It's just the core albums.
Yeah, the core 9 albums.
But yeah, Cheshire Cat at 8. I think I'm surprised as if we've had the first 2 bottom 2
that's really
together.
Good. That's really good.
Who's going in with number 7, or have you got more on Cheshire Cat?
Not too much on Cheshire Cat, no. All I can really say is that as far as the track list goes, they've got projects that are infinitely catchier than this, infinitely better. This was kind of their formation. They're kind of figuring out who they were, and by this point, I don't think they'd fully cemented the Blink-182 sound. The first 2 tracks were showing that they were getting there, but they hadn't quite hit their peak yet. And I also think because neither of us would have listened to this album due to its age, and when it came out, it wouldn't have been the first albums that we listened to. I don't think we get the nostalgia that perhaps some people that would rank this as the top albums would.
I don't think there's any Blink-182 fans that would argue that Cheshire Cat's in the top 3 albums.
I think there would be. I think
Surely
there would be.
not.
I think anybody over the age of like 35 that heard this as the first Blink album, and this is what they know as Blink, will dislike newer stuff because this is the Blink they know and love.
I don't even think many people would have heard this.
Do you not reckon?
Nah, debut album, it didn't really do very well. I looked earlier, it only had 60,000 sales in the UK.
Fucking hell.
So I don't think...
maybe, yeah.
This is like, all right, the industry will have heard it and gone, these lot have got something.
Yeah.
We need to get more out of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it ever blew up to even have that nostalgia effect. I'm sure there will be some people that have that, but
Oh, yeah, definitely.
not many. Number 7.
I'll let you go.
Is it going to be the same again?
I don't know.
Number 7 for me is One More Time.
Oh my God, one more time at number 7.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Are you shocked by that, or is it yours
no,
that
I'll
you're just overreacting?
I'll let you carry on.
One More Time, I really liked it when it first came out, and I think I was on the hype train a little bit too much. Again, not saying it's a bad album, I just think it's really bloated. As an album listening experience, there's a lot of songs on there that you can miss me with. There's a lot that I quite like as well. Funnily enough, it's probably not even the ones you'd expect. Blink Wave is probably my favourite track, or one of. And no, but that's completely different, but it kind of tickles my musical needs. It's not the best track, but I think Dance With Me is amazing. I've literally got, are you ready for this? I've put pop punky, danceable, funky, amazing.
Pop punky, funky pop punky.
Exactly.
That's what we like.
I love that track, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't dislike it, but it just doesn't hit the same as the other albums. I think there's a lot of potential there. I think it was overproduced.
Okay.
I think it feels a bit dumbed down in comparison to some of their older projects. I think that's the Travis Barker effect. But it was quite cool to see Travis Barker have some lyrics on Turpentine as well.
Yes, that was very cool. Yeah, I mean, I won't go in too heavy on this. I'll address it when I get round to it. But I am very surprised that you've ranked it so low down, because that means there's other projects that you've put above it, which is crazy to me. But anyway, my number 7, Dude Ranch.
Damn.
So the reason, again, is because this is an album where it was only 2 of the 3 that we know of. It still had Scott on the drums. And don't get me wrong, it's definitely a great album. But the same with Cheshire Cat. It didn't feel like it was quite Blink yet. It felt like they were still in the formations of getting to know who they were, getting to know what kind of music works for them, understanding each other and being able to write music better together. The cohesion isn't quite there.
The cohesion.
The Coheed and Cambria is not quite there. The production also is a bit raw for me. And the same with Cheshire Cat as well. I'm not a huge fan of raw sounding music massively. So it's the same issue with Enter Shikari's first couple of albums. I got a lot of friends that will say those are the best Shikari albums ever, and their newer stuff is crap. Whereas I came in on maybe the 3rd or 4th album, and so I know that sound and like the polished quality of it. There's studio production, and then any earlier stuff where you can kind of, the guitar's a bit, wild sound, and the vocals aren't tuned in. The drums sound like they're recorded through a microphone that's on the other side of the room, and it's just not for me personally. I'm just not a fan of that style of music.
I think that's super valid.
Which is fair enough. But this did feature Damn It and Josie, Josie is a fucking amazing
You said
song.
Josie in a weird way.
Josie.
You said like Josie.
Josie, yeah.
Nah, I don't like
Is
that.
it Josie?
I don't know. I say Josie. Maybe it's because I'm a lazy
That sounds like your
Yorkshireman.
fucking nickname. What's
Yeah,
up? It's Josie. Big ups.
If I morphed into Jay-Z as well.
Yeah. It doesn't have enough bangers to carry it, in my opinion, and that's why it goes in at number 7.
And that's also why it goes in at my number 6.
Fairs.
Number 6 is Dude Ranch.
Yeah.
I do think Damn It is one of my favourite Blink tracks.
Yeah, it is a really
It's
good
such a banger. It feels very different to every other Blink track as well, because it's more that it's like kind of almost spoken wordy rap for half of it.
Yeah, almost.
As opposed to singing. Yeah, I've got Josie's good as well. it feels a bit raw and screamy. It feels like they're shouting at me on Dude Ranch, not singing to me, not trying to get me involved, just like, "Mah."
Like that, I kind of get what you mean. It feels almost as if it's an attack, like they're purposely trying to. I don't even know what they're trying to do, but it's a good album though. It is a good album. I don't think you can fault it.
Number 6, number 7. We're close so far, brother. I'm waiting for you to throw a wild one in.
Number 6 now, California. Ooh. California.
I'll come in already and say California is my number 5.
Right, okay.
Because we can.
So let's discuss this then. So for me, this is my favorite album of Blink that doesn't feature Mark, Tom, and Travis. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is because it's, I don't know, it kind of felt like they'd stepped away from being Blink, but not too far. They'd kind of done what they'd done on Neighborhoods, which was kind of go down that side of let's try and spread our wings a little bit. Let's try and move away from our original sound. But they didn't go far enough, such as 9 did, where it went completely off the rails. And it's like, this album should be, I do think that 9 should have been a different band entirely.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think if California and 9 had been released under a Boxcar Racer plus 44 style band, I think they would have been received so much better than they were, but they probably wouldn't have got the listens that they did, because California, when I was looking at the track listing, the amount of streams that this has got is fucking crazy. But I think it was because it was when a lot of people got into Blink. I think this weirdly, because it was after Neighborhoods. Neighborhoods didn't have the success that other ones did, and this was kind of everybody that knew old Blink that had become fans in the 2010s had no new material to listen to. So when California dropped, all of those people that had gotten into older Blink had gone, oh, we can listen to this new album, which I think then gave it the numbers that it had.
I completely agree, and California really has grown on me over the years. I never hated it, but I still will stand by the fact I think it's pretty bloated, especially on the deluxe edition. What is there, like 25 songs or something stupid? It's mental. Yeah. That's been a real theme in Blink. Obviously, with One More Time that I mentioned previously as well. I feel like you just don't need to just throw in everything you've made. Yeah. Just throw in the really good ones, make it work, and it would probably be a better project. But California reminds me literally of that exact kind of experience that you were talking about. I already knew who Blink were and had the albums, but this was the first Blink release cycle I ever had. Yeah. So it was the first time in my life. Obviously, Neighborhoods came out when I was like 10 or 11, so I don't remember that. But California, I remember specifically being in high school and like having a plug-in aux earphone into my iPhone 4 and a wire coming through my sleeve so I could listen to the song like that. Yeah. And that was such a fun memory. And I remember it was like Rabbit Hole was coming out. That was one of the singles. And I was thinking, yo, this is pretty cool.
Rabbit Hole was really good.
This album could be great. And there is quite a lot of good songs on there. But California only ranks at 5th for me because it's got a lot of good songs, but I don't think it's a particularly good album, as in to listen to the whole thing.
Yes.
A lot of unneeded tracks and a lot of tracks that get that samey vibe where it's more just pop. It's like Mark Hoppus and Skibber just popping it out. Not really.
Jesus.
Just popping it for the masses. But that's what they were doing. They were just bloating it out for no particular reason, in my opinion. But
I think it was overly hated for the fact that Tom wasn't on it. I think a lot of Blink fans, a lot of the old head Blink fans didn't like this album just out the gate. It didn't matter if it was the greatest Blink album in creation, because Tom DeLonge wasn't on it. It got way too much hate than it deserved, because it's a good album. Like I say, it's my favorite of the Blink albums that doesn't feature all 3 of the members. And I just think, I don't know, I feel like people had perceptions of what it was going to be prior to it releasing. And like you were saying, this was your first project of Blink, so it gave you a better view of it. So I think it's kind of very hit and miss with Blink fans as a whole, where you'll get the newer fans that will say, no, California was actually quite good. And you get the older fans saying, California is the worst album that they've done. And
it's certainly not the worst album.
I think there's tracks on there that are like Built This Pool, which I think are really funny and really, like, that was clearly just peak Mark, just fucking around. And to be able to do those kind of songs without Tom there, because I always felt like that was more of Tom's thing, because he liked the kind of jokes, gay jokes and shit like that. So for it to be Mark doing it, I was like, all right, he's got some credence here.
So some of my favourite tracks, I really like Home Is Such a Lonely Place. I think that's like a sad boy love song that kind of I don't know, it's not particularly trademark Blink, but the theme of the song and the lyrics throughout remind me of older Blink, where you can relate to it in like a romantic way. The title track of California starts really chill. The end minute is sick, and there's an unbelievable drum solo by Travis at the end. I think that's a massively underrated track. And then the biggest track I'm actually a big fan of in Bored to Death.
Yes,
and
Bored to Death is great.
There's an acoustic version of Bored to Death as well, which I really like. As I say, that reminds me of being in high school and listening to it all the time, so it gets big ratings from me.
So for me, mine would be Cynical, Bored to Death, The Only Thing That Matters, Rabbit Hole, and Left Alone. Those are all big Blink bangers, in my opinion. Those are the songs off that album that felt the most like mid-era Blink, the best era of Blink. But this was the first album where it was official that Matt had joined the band and that Tom had gone. So again, that leans into people not liking it as much. But it was also, Tom left because he felt like he couldn't push boundaries and, move towards a certain way. And it felt like this was the remaining members trying to rehash what Blink had done in the past as well. So whilst it is a great album, don't get me wrong, a lot of it feels like they were trying to capture that spark that they hit on other albums, which was a thing that Tom left because of. He'd said, look, I'm trying to do different things, because he left after Neighborhoods, and that was such a different sounding album. And then you had Angels and Airwaves, which was entirely different. And he clearly couldn't convince the other two to move that way. So I think Mark and Travis were stuck in their ways, and this album almost feels like a rehashing of what they'd already done in the past, which again is why it comes in at number 6.
Yeah, they certainly weren't trying to push boundaries with it, were they?
No, they were playing it somewhat safe, I feel.
Well, number 5, Tim, because I've actually already given my number 5.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One more time.
One more time at number 5.
At number 5.
Do you think One More Time is better than California?
Yeah. I do.
I'm surprised by that,
So the reason why is the bottom 4 for me, the main justification for me is that my top 5 albums are the 5 that feature Mark, Tom, and Travis.
Yeah, but would you personally rather sit and listen to the whole of One More Time or the whole of California?
It's a difficult one.
Like for your listening experience.
So if I was listening to it as an album, One More Time. For the singles, California. It was difficult for me to piece these two together because One More Time was... I'm not the biggest fan of One More Time, but I like the sound of One More Time more than I like the sound of California. But there are some songs on California that I prefer than any song on One More Time. So it was a really difficult one for me to put 5th and 6th because they could be interchangeable. Either one of those albums could have been in either one of these positions for me. One More Time is definitely better than my first 3 choices. But then with California, I was very torn on which way do I go.
I'm surprised.
It was the reason why is because it's Tom in there instead of Matt. And it just had that Blink sound. It had that Blink feel. Tom, to me, is 50% of Blink. I know he's only 33%, but his voice being on the tracks just makes me feel a certain way. You know what I mean? It just makes me Tom DeLonge when I hear him on those tracks. And
thanks for watching, guys.
It's been a good one. So like I say, the reason it's got so high is because it's the original lineup. But this album as a whole feels rather dialed in. It feels like it's them again trying to capture old Blink, which is exactly why Tom left in the first place. So for him to come back and
I don't think that they try to capture old Blink in this because there's so many different sounding songs in comparison to old albums.
Do you think?
Like when you look at Blink Wave, there's one right at the end of the album.
Yeah, there's a couple in there, but I think as a majority of the tracks on the album, they feel very like... Some of the songs even sound like they've got the same bass lines as like Stay Together for the Kids. And
yeah, some
I can't remember which tracks they were.
I know what you mean, but I think there was quite a bit of experimentation as well.
Yeah, I would have liked some more experimental tracks on there. I know that you're saying that you think they messed around with some tracks, but I think they played it very... They could have gone that way. They played it that way.
I think they experimented in a way on the tracks that you probably don't like them ones.
Yes, probably.
So
yeah. My favourite track off this album is Edging, by far. And it was when they released it, I said, this is a fucking great track. And everyone was like, oh, this is good because it's an intro to it. It's by far my favourite track of the entire album.
That's not even top 5 for me.
Oh, it's so good. So good. I love Edging.
Do you not think that this album didn't... When Blink got back together, right, it was like the happiest thing ever.
Yeah.
I don't think that this quite hit as much as it should have done.
No, it didn't. It didn't hit the heights that it should have. But it's Tom DeLonge. I can't say any less than that. Tom DeLonge to me is what makes Blink Blink.
Have you got any more on One More Time?
Nah, we'll move on.
Nah.
We'll move on. We'll move past it.
Number 4.
Number 4.
I think this is where you get angry.
Why?
My 4th best Blink-182 album of all time is Enema of the State.
Ooh, I'm not angry. No, I can let me check where I'm putting it in mine. No, I get it. I want to hear your justification for it. I'm not angry though, because for me, the top 4 albums, for us, we have a certain album that we both have favour for that I knew was going to be. I knew what our top 4 was going to be before we started this
Well, it's obvious what the top 4 is going to be.
And all of these are interchangeable in my opinion. A lot of people say
you need to stop saying that.
Why?
You always just say everything's interchangeable. It's like just...
No, but I just love all of the Blink albums.
Brother, just grow some nuts and stand by your choices.
It's like trying to choose a child. Trying to choose your favourite child.
Yeah, you probably can though in reality. You'd go, he's all right, but that one, he's better.
He's sick, him.
I'm taking him with me.
I don't know. No, I don't know. Carry on.
Enema of the State, fantastic album, right? And I think it's the album that most people know from Blink-182. Iconic cover with the nurse. Everyone knows that. People still dressing up on Halloween as that character. But what?
That character.
Yeah, but is it? It's not really a character, is it?
Carry on.
Why did you do that to me?
Because it's just the way that.
Yeah, because I was like,
it's like you hate her. That fucking character. That nurse.
Got Blink's biggest track on it. All the Small Things. Big banger. I love it. And a lot of the time when it's an artist's biggest song, I sometimes fall out with it because I hear it too much. But All the Small Things I actually still quite like.
It's always going to be a banger, that.
Yeah. Amazing video as well.
Yeah.
Running on the treadmills and that. I think that is pretty funny. And it felt like Blink being Blink through and through. No question about it. No forced antics. No forced interludes or try to be funny. It was just them doing the thing. But it's just not quite as good as the other ones. Aliens Exist.
Biggest banger. One of my favourite Blink tracks, genuinely.
Such a big track, and I think I enjoy it even more knowing what's happened since then.
Yeah. Because it was basically, it was like Tom hinting that he was already going that way. And if you watch interviews with like Travis about when Tom left the band, he said he was always stargazing. They'd go out on tour and he'd always be out just watching the stars, and he'd be constantly talking about these conspiracies and aliens and that. And it's cool to see him actualize his dreams, because clearly he preferred that over actually making music, which is when you're in Blink-182 to then want to do something else over making music.
Gotta respect it.
I have nothing but respect for that.
But it feels like an Easter egg, doesn't it? It feels like when I look at the title now, I'm like, oh, I got you. I know what you're doing. And then
Gotcha.
I think What's My Age Again is a huge track as well. And obviously being 23, I've just got to bring it up while I can. I've not got long left. I've got about a month.
Oh God, he's dying.
No.
Fuck me.
I've got about a month left before this track becomes irrelevant to my life cycle, because I've always listened to it and thought, oh, I'll be 23 soon. And now I'm nearly 24.
Oh, no.
I'm getting on a bit.
Oh, no.
But yeah, iconic album, but just can't get above the others.
With all the tracks you've just listed there, it surprises me that you put it at 4. Because those tracks just elevate it.
I thought that would proper upset you.
No. Like I say, I think you could choose any of the top 4. There was some lower that I couldn't give less of a shit about the ones that have been mentioned so far. It's this top 4 that I give more of a shit about. But like I say, I could have put any of them anywhere. But you're gonna be like, oh, fucking, will you just put your foot down and make a choice? I can't do it. I have made a choice, but I'll probably, if you ask me again in 6 months' time, I'll change my mind.
What's your choice for number 4 then?
You're gonna be upset with this. Neighborhoods.
Bro, can't make a choice.
See, what the fuck? So Neighborhoods for me is coming in at number 4. Now, this album as a whole was one of my favorite Blink albums upon hearing it. And the tracks were so different to what we'd heard from Blink before. But in a way that wasn't like, you know, California and 9, where it was like, it was still trying to be Blink, but also trying to not sound like their older stuff.
Yeah.
So at this point, they were just fully committed to trying out a new sound entirely. And it felt like Tom had a lot more creative control over the project as a whole. And it wasn't even like it was Angels and Airwavesy. It wasn't like it was any kind of other band. It was just sounded like Blink, but really good and experimental.
To me, it just sounded like an actual natural evolution of Blink.
Yeah, almost. It's,
like, you still had some old elements, but
I can
it was
understand
new.
people saying that they class this more as a rock album than a pop punk album, and I completely understand that. But I think that they achieved it in such a way, and also having the core 3 members, it didn't matter what music they were making, it was always going to sound like Blink.
Do you know what vibe it kind of gives me? And you see this a lot across the rock and pop punk space. It's like when Jimmy Eat World went from Bleed American to Futures or one of the other albums.
Yeah.
It went from pure pop punk to hints of pop punk, but with rock, but it's still a pop punk band. So where do you place it?
Yeah.
But no, I agree. Neighborhoods is top tier.
I think for this album as well, I would have preferred for One More Time to have gone more down this route than the route that it did, because the route that it ended up going down, like we were saying, is harking back on old BLINK-182 in my opinion. And the tracks that you were saying were more experimental weren't experimental in the way that tracks on Neighborhoods were. Neighborhoods felt like it was full of emotion. It felt like it was written with a lot of intent. Like there was a lot of thought put into the tracks. It wasn't just a 15-minute throw together. Like, I mean, California pretty much sounds like every song was put together in 15 minutes. Like they went into the studio and said, yeah, we'll do that one. Yeah, just do it. Yeah. It's just so, whereas this felt like it was structured and there was a lot of thought put into every little bit of the song.
Do you know what though? I actually watched something on Neighborhoods not too long ago, and
was it that like half an hour long video about the production being a nightmare? And yeah, I watched that as well.
So it made me think Neighborhoods was the reunion album and the breakup album of Blink-182 in one.
Yeah.
And I think that's why maybe we got that raw kind of pissed off sound, because everyone probably was upset with how it was been recorded, thought the reunion would go better. Not everyone, Mark probably wasn't 100% on board with the sound because it was clearly more led by Tom. Seems like Travis was down for it.
Travis just is down for anything.
Yeah,
Travis
but
just wants to hit his
It
drums.
did seem a bit more boxcar racery.
There's a lot of fucking, and I know we spoke about Neighborhoods before because it's been in our top lists, but there's a lot of tracks on Neighborhoods where Travis goes fucking insane. Like he is clearly having a great time because he isn't confined to pop punk drumming. It's just, you do what you want and add it into it and we'll just see what happens. And he just goes sicko mode on so many tracks.
Sicko mode.
Big time.
Well, number 3.
Top 3 here. Top 3.
Top 3 Blink-182 albums.
I'm not worried because I know which 3 are in here and any of these 3 are valid in any position. But I'm curious as to the listings that you've got. So let's see. Number 3.
Number 3 is Neighborhoods.
Okay, yeah, cool. Okay, cool.
You thought it'd be number 1.
Yeah, I was worried.
No, I absolutely love Neighborhoods. And if I'm going to listen to a full Blink album, it's between that and one of my other picks. But I always look at it and I go,
oh, yeah.
Do I want that?
Yeah.
Similar to California. Why did I make the noise of like a cricket then? Similar to California.
Wait, looking at me, I have no idea.
It kind of was playing constantly in a formative time of my life, which I feel like is what Blink-182 is made for in many ways.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of good memories around Neighborhoods.
Angst.
Like angst, but also fun. And it was one of the albums that took me away from different genres of music. I remember getting pissed on a field at 15 and playing Neighborhoods and people being like, what are you listening to, mate? Play some Bugsy Malone right now. Yeah. You've done it right there, but After Midnight will forever be one of my favourite Blink tracks.
Just so good.
Just that little drum roll makes it.
Yeah. It's just such a good... Yeah.
Heart's All Gone, really high octane, high pace, energy song. I absolutely love it. And I think the thing with Neighborhoods for me, every time I listen to the album, I come out with a different favourite couple tracks. I nearly went back and listened to a previous episode earlier because I thought, did I just say completely different tracks last time? Because I couldn't remember.
But that's fine.
Every time I look at it, I'm like, I don't know which to pick.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the choices that we make in these episodes. They're going to evolve over time because we're going to listen to them. We're going to have a new appreciation for certain stuff. You listen to an album later on in your life and all of a sudden, you know, the 3 tracks that you didn't like are the 3 that apply to you the most now, and you go, holy shit, this is talking to me directly now.
But that's really good, and to me that's a sign of a good album because it's like you can then have the reminiscent value of the previous songs and relate to new ones in a different way, so it makes you appreciate every song even more. It just keeps evolving.
I think for me, MH31 blah 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 all that stuff, I just really like that track, and I think it's underappreciated off the album. You don't see many people talking about it.
MH, yeah, that is a good one.
That one, yeah.
But no, and I massively hope that Blink play at least 2 songs off Neighbourhoods at Reading. Well, at Leeds actually. Fuck Reading. Play 2 songs off of Neighbourhoods at Leeds. I pray.
We can only pray. I don't know how that's. I don't know if that'll happen. It seems like it was an album that they fell out over.
They played Ghost on the Dance Floor, the last gig.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So just add one. Just play it after midnight. It's literally my birthday.
Midnight. Yeah.
We're named after Blink, right?
Yeah,
We're named after a Blink song. It's my fucking birthday. Listen here, Tom DeLonge and Marky little shits, yeah? Play it after midnight at Leeds Fest.
What about Travis?
He's not listening.
But he's the most important part of After Midnight.
Travis, please.
Please, Travis. Number 3.
What's your number 3?
Number 3 for me. We're going with untitled, self-titled, BLINK-182, whatever you want to call it. There's many names. I think it's untitled is the official name that people dub it. That's number 3 for me. So, said it a million times. Top 3 are interchangeable as fuck.
If you say that one more time, right?
I'm going to keep saying it.
Stop flaking on yourself.
I'm not flaking on myself.
Just pick your number 3 and say it.
Yes, it feels very somber, and it's a lot sadder and more serious than the other albums that are left. And I think in a way that is a great feel for Blink, but it's also not the Blink that I kind of know and love. So I'm not trying to be rude, but every time you spoke about Blink in this episode, it's like you're speaking about a dead relative. It is, but they're still here, they're still with us. They are still with us, but they're not though.
The Blink I know.
Yeah, the Blink. Yeah, but it is the Blink I knew and loved back in the day. Because are you telling me one more time is anywhere near to these?
No, but they're still here. What do you mean? I knew they're still here. We're seeing them in like a month.
Yeah, but they're not in that style. They're not making this kind of shit no more. They're making Blink Wave.
Yeah, that's a big banger, that.
But you know what I mean, though? It's not... They're not able to... And plus, they're old now. They're not making fun tracks anymore. They're trying to make fun tracks, and it just sounds weird when you've got blokes in their 40s to 50s saying these goofy-ass fart and poop jokes.
You just said your favourite track off the latest album was Edging.
Yeah.
The whole track's a joke.
Yeah, I know.
Boy, you can't make your mind up.
What do you mean?
You can't say I hate the jokey ones, but my jokey ones are the
never said
favourite.
I hate the jokey ones. I'm saying it just doesn't hit the same anymore. Hang on. You're getting the wrong argument here. I'm arguing that the old Blink is dead and gone. And we've got the corpse of what's left now. No, they're not that bad. They're not that bad.
Self-titled.
Let's keep going. It is a great candidate for their self-titled, untitled album. I think this is kind of like... It's not peak Blink, but it's up there in terms of track listing. I think this is the one that had Robert Smith on it as well.
Yeah. From The Cure.
Yeah, which was for the only feature on the album, and pretty much the only feature on any album. Very strange, but it's a cool cosign. It's a very cool cosign. There's I Miss You. Doesn't need any more than that. No more than that.
No, I'm not going to say
it. Don't do it.
No, I'm not going to say
Do it.
No.
Why?
Right,
There we go. Violence, which I really like. I love Violence. Always and Down. Down was, I think, maybe one of the first Blink songs that I actually ever heard.
Bro said he's always down for violence.
And the music always down for violence. Yeah. The music video for Down is the one where they're having a pool party kind of thing, the police show up, and it's Terry Crews. It's Terry motherfucking Crews. And I remember seeing that and thinking, I love Terry Crews already, because I think that was around the time he was doing the Old Spice adverts.
How have you mentioned Terry Crews 2 episodes in a row? I'm quite impressed.
I just love Terry Crews, man.
Never complain about the 1975 again.
Oh, yeah, because how many times have you fucking mentioned them cunts? It's a great vibe, and it's putting them onto the right trajectory, and it's setting them up to only go to success. And then they decided let's fucking throw in the towel, actually. Fuck this. Then they came back with Neighbourhoods, then they went away again, and then... But wow. I think this, personally, is a solid number 3 album for me.
Well, my number 2. Oh, you excited?
A little bit. I'm buzzing. Ooh.
Number 2 for me is Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Oh, okay.
But you know what that means? That also, in effect, means that number 1...
Don't ruin it yet.
Yeah, but obviously, if anyone's listened to this point...
Yes, I know, but tell us your number 2.
Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. I just love it. It's absolutely...
All right, my number 2 is...
It's an absolutely unbelievable album. Funnily enough, it's actually the only Blink album I've got on vinyl, so maybe that's a little bit...
What's really difficult was making notes for the top 3 albums, because
I just love all
my
of them.
justification is just, yeah, it's really fucking good. What do you want me to say? The other ones, I'm like, this is why it's bad. This is why I didn't like it. These ones, I'm just like, it's just good.
So, like...
It's just good.
This album, to me, in comparison to Enema, because a lot of people will compare those two...
Enema. It triggers
Enema.
me every time you say that, man.
Yeah, well... it feels a lot more angsty and angry. A little bit less jokey, still with that vibe in there.
What, take off your pants and jacket?
Over Enema, it feels a bit more like...
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I'm not wrong with this one, I don't think. I mean, I might be. Let me know in the comments, people. Stay Together for the Kids just does it for me.
Why are you asking people in the comments? Why are you asking me? I'm right here, bro.
Nah, the comments can let me know.
All right, okay.
They'll probably agree with you, though.
Come on.
I said, Stay Together. You started arguing with me about previous points. Stay Together for the Kids does that to me. In itself, that's like the most angsty Blink song. You know, talking about a breakup, it's quite heavy in comparison to the rest of the entire discography, to be honest.
It features peak Tom DeLonge voice. Here's your holiday. Hope you enjoy this time.
But do you know what? I actually have the least notes on this album. I just love the whole thing. I think peak Blink, really, obviously, to make it in at number 2. There's a lot of good tracks throughout. There's not really any I dislike. I can listen to the whole thing and I'm buzzing. It's just sick.
Do you want me to move on to my number 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Number 2, Enema of the State. So, bangers from top to bottom. It features some of what I would class as the best Blink songs ever, whether it be commercially, personally, all around the best Blink songs, which is All the Small Things, Aliens Exist, Going Away to College, and Dysentery Gary, which isn't actually spoken about as much as I wish it was.
Do you know, I saw that earlier on the track list and I quite like it. I thought, I'm not trying to say that on the podcast.
Yeah, just dead.
Yeah.
That, honestly, Dysentery Gary is, I think, a hidden gem. Even though it's got like 40 million plays or something insane, I think it's not given enough credit for a Blink track. And in my personal opinion, it's up there with the big dogs, although commercially not so much. But I think the way it's written, the way it's put together, the way it's then put out there, really fucking good track. Also features Adam's Song, which is undoubtedly one of their other huge tracks. Really heartfelt track. But overall, it skates the line of being super fun, whilst also being a little bit more serious with the tracks like Going Away to College, Adam's Song, and those sort of vibe where it's kind of, it's somber again is the word. I like using that word. I love somber. And I think that detracts for me a couple of points off it, slightly from putting it in at number 1, because me personally, I'm a big fan of fun and... I just like fun music. I know you hate fun. You cannot allow people to have fun in music, and I understand that. That's fine. That's a personal opinion. It's wrong, but
I listen to music to sob.
Yeah, I know you do. That's why you listen to the 1975.
I listen to quite a lot of fun music. Just not fucking trumpet, man.
Mum, shut the door.
that was a top tier moment. Yeah. If anyone gets that one, I'll be surprised.
Yeah. So I think this album comes in at number 2 for me. And let's go on to number 1 because there's only 2 albums left.
Number 1, self-titled.
Fair.
Or what did you say a lot of people call it?
Untitled,
BLINK-182. I just love this record. I think from top to bottom, it's amazing. The one thing I think I like about this more than Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, Neighbourhoods, etc., that have come before it in this ranking is I think it effectively skates different Blink-182 sounds and does them all quite well. I think as an album, it flows really well. The interludes do a good job of putting it together and making it just... I can just listen to it all and I don't have any complaints. I like pretty much every song. You obviously mentioned the Robert Smith feature. That's really cool. But the iconic Where Are You is... I think that's the most famous Blink song now,
I think it's got to be.
No, but All the Small Things is bigger in terms of numbers and streams. But I think more people will know Where Are You?
Where are you?
That may as well be the name of the song. Where are you?
You see these adverts for the T-shirts where it's written out in that way.
Don't waste your time.
Everywhere. everywhere.
So I think that's taken over. Violence, because of the drum intro, 10 out of 10. The way it just kicks in is absolutely banging. Stockholm Syndrome interlude into the actual song. I don't know why. Whenever I'm listening to that, I feel like it's going to make me jump every time.
Which?
The way the Stockholm Syndrome interlude goes into the track itself. I'm always listening. I'm like, when's it going to kick in? When's it going to kick in?
It's coming.
I just absolutely love it. Always is one of, if not my favourite BLINK-182 song.
It'll always be your favourite song.
I'm always going to love it. And I really like the music video for it. It's the one where it's like the 3 point of views and they're all in the room. That is so cool.
That's very cool.
And for how old the track is, that makes it even better. And all those things combined make untitled, self-titled BLINK-182 their best album.
Fair point. Fair points. Cannot argue.
I'm surprised you had it at number 3.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like I feel like you would have liked that more than Enema for some reason. I don't know why. I had it down that you'd prefer that one.
So for Enema of the State, I think I definitely listened to that prior to listening to Untitled, and I think when you listen to certain albums before others, that becomes your world of what they are. And Neighborhoods also was one of the ones that I kind of like gravitated towards initially getting into Blink. So obviously there's a special place for those. And those 3, it's just, number 1 for me.
What is the best BLINK-182 album of all time?
Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Oh, best BLINK-182
album this episode.
Oh, sorry. This in itself, the title is a fucking joke. Like, it's Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. And I think a lot of people, I don't even think you realised that.
I didn't even.
Like,
I just saw it as Tiopch. Tiopch. That's how I always saw it.
Toy Patch. That's it. Toy Patch.
Toy Patch. Anyway.
Yes. So it's the funnest best Blink album in existence. It is the epitome of Blink-182 for me. It's just fun. There's a couple of tracks in there that are a little bit more on the side, like going to Stay Together for the Kids. But even that is peak Blink. Starts off with Anthem Part 2, which is arguably the best intro song for any album ever. It's a huge track. It just gets you so... They could open every set with that and I'd get goosebumps every time you hear that intro on the drums.
It would be hyped just every time.
You know what I mean? Like, I would be taking off my pants and jacking it. Online songs to follow it up is crazy. And also, I didn't want to say it earlier because I didn't want to touch on it. And Jacket.
I feel like you've turned into a Blink member in this episode. You just try to make the worst jokes possible.
Online songs, he says, Josie, you're my source of most frustration. Josie, not Josie. He didn't say Josie. He says Josie. So that's why I call Josie. Yeah,
true, but he's American and you're not.
It's that's fucking why I said name, brother.
Yeah, but you're saying names differently. It's like Americans call Adidas.
Added on.
Oh, no, we're not getting onto that again.
Craig and Craig. They do that.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Yeah. They're a bit weird.
Okay. Anyway, super fun songs such as Happy Holidays, You Bastard and The Rock Show. Those are both great songs. I really like Happy Holidays, You Bastard. That's such a great
Have you
song.
ever witnessed your grandpa eat 7 fucking hot dogs?
I've witnessed him shitting his pants. But
oh, my God. And he only had to have a tuck biscuit for that.
Yeah. Take them sandwiches off him now.
You went, take off your pants. Let me
shit it. It also features a lot of heartfelt tracks such as Shut Up, which is pretty good. Stay Together for the Kids and Story of a Lonely Guy. Great track.
Again, though, with all these top 3, we could just hype about every song,
literally.
Really, couldn't
we? And from top to bottom, this is a phenomenal album, and it is easily peak Blink-182. This is the best that they ever got, and the best that they'll ever be.
I respect it. Huh? I have no problem with that. Obviously, it was at my number 2. Should we give our full?
Let's do it. Let's give a little rundown. Whoop, 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 whoop. Rundown alert. Uh-oh, here it comes.
I think you fucking lost it, bro. I think you've actually lost it this episode. And this is staying in.
Yeah, right. That's fine. I want it to. I want people to be aware the rundown's coming. Uh-oh, here it comes. Run away.
Are you just trying to put me off before I read out the list?
No. Anema.
Why is that? That's not even that funny. Man's lost it. All right. You're throwing me off here, man. Every Blink-182 album ranked. At number 9 is 9. Number 8, Cheshire Cat. Number 7, One More Time. Number 6 is Dude Ranch. Number 5, California. Number 4, Enema of the State. Number 3, Neighborhoods. Number 2, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. And in at number 1 is the self-titled or untitled Blink-182 record.
All of Blink-182's albums ranked. Number 9, 9. Number 8, Cheshire Cat. Number 7, Dude Ranch. Number 6, California. Number 5, One More Time. Number 4, Neighborhoods. Number 3, self-titled or untitled. Number 2, Enema of the State. And number 1, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Rank 'em and spank 'em.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe we'll do ranking every Blink side project one day.
Oh, yeah.
We've got Plus 44, Boxcar, Tom DeLonge once did a solo, Simple Creatures, Mark Hoppus and Alex.
Maybe throw Aquabats into there.
Yeah,
maybe.
This could be fun. All right, we'll catch you next time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Do all the liking and subscribing and all the other stuff is everywhere. Everywhere. We're everywhere.
If you've got this far, like and subscribe. Otherwise, you're a criminal. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.